Attention listeners, this podcast is rated R. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, Lit Talkers. Welcome to episode 13, where we are ready to give you guys our half-year update, how many books we've read, how we're feeling about them. But I'm Cassie.
I'm Holly.
I'm Tara.
I'm Jen.
And I guess I get to start us off. So back in episode 2, I set a goal of 90 books this year. I'm doing great, guys. I'm really not doing too shabby. I was earlier in the year, but I'm starting to catch up a little bit. So I have read 39 books so far.
Hey.
You go, queen.
I'm getting there on a goal of 90, so I'm like 6 books away from halfway. And I'm feeling pretty confident about it still. I do know that I slope off like towards December, so I definitely have to pad myself this summer and get as much of that in before winter hits and I go into a deep, dark depression and don't read any books.
Oh.
Wow.
Wow, sorry.
It's that seasonal depression, guys.
The sad.
I cannot. There
Hello,
is
darkness, my old friend.
the only things that make me happy between like, I don't know, October and February are my birthday and Christmas.
And Halloween.
Halloween.
And Halloween. Halloween makes me happy because thanks to Holly, my kid is super fucking excited about Halloween every year.
Jumping in leaves.
No.
The pumpkin spice smells. The apple spice smells.
No.
Wow. Okay, Debbie Downer.
So
do you want to keep going with your reading wrap up,
I
please?
cannot. Jesus. Talk about rushing.
Well, if you're depressed, you should read more.
Pick up a book.
We're going to send you some smut reads to get you through the
Oh,
seasonal
hell
depression.
yeah.
I'm cool with that. That might help. Maybe that's it. Maybe I try to read all these like big fantasy books like fucking Fourth Wing while I'm depressed and then I end up hating them all. So if y'all want me to read fantasy books, recommend them now. If y'all want me to read romance, I need them at the end of the year. So Jen so kindly pointed out that I have read 14 fantasy books this year,
Woohoo.
which means 36% of the books that I have read are fantasy.
Yeah.
So her point that she's trying to prove is that I am a fantasy girl.
Yeah, how many historical fictions have you read this year?
Like 4.
Okay.
Exactly. So it's not that fantasy's your favorite. It's that I think you don't read as much historical fiction as you thought you did.
No, I'm
fucking love
pretty
it,
sure what
though.
I'm pointing out is fantasy is her favorite.
Oh my god.
And historical fiction can kick rocks in her opinion.
I see now I feel like I need to go through and do the math and find out how many of those fantasy were 5 stars and how many of the historical fiction books that I read were 5 stars.
Okay, out of 4, you think that that's going to catch up to your 13th fantasy book?
I don't know,
Percentage
quality,
might
not
be-
quantity.
See?
Time out. I'm
my
going
God.
last, so I've got this.
Oh my gosh.
It's going to be like an hour-long episode because Jen's going to be focused on trying to find out the stats.
Oh my god, I cannot. 13 of those books were 5-star reads. And I have been waffling all day on what my favorite book so far this year is.
Waffling.
Do you not like that word?
That's okay.
What is
I
wrong
love
with that
waffles.
word?
Nothing's wrong with it.
I don't think it was the word. I think it was how many of the 18 or 14 books that were fantasy you just said, 13 of them were 5-star. So even if you gave all historical fiction.
No, I had 13 5-star reads total.
Oh,
Not
okay.
just a fantasy, but
That's
of
okay.
all
I'm about to look into it.
39 reads.
No, I
or
was
however
judging
many books I've
waffling.
read.
Yeah, I was judging.
I was judging waffling.
See, now we can go back. I'm not so smart, Jen.
Buttery, syrupy waffles.
So my favorite book so far year to date is The Fairy Tale Life of Dorothy Gale by Virginia Contra?
That's your favorite book?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, so
Kelsa Breeze.
Listen, I picked this book up. I go to the library all the time with my kid. And I never get time.
So how many do you think that you rated
Oh, no.
5 stars for fantasy?
Like 5.
7.
Okay.
Not too far away.
So-
Okay. Sorry, I'll go back for historical fiction.
So half of the fantasy ones that I read, I gave 5 stars to, guys. Okay. So I never get time to look at the library for myself. And they had like a whole section of like new releases right when we walked in. And I asked my kid, I was like, hey, can mommy look at a couple of books? We were meeting a friend. Her friend wasn't there yet. So I was like, all right, this is my like moment. She's got nothing she's looking forward to yet. And I was able to grab like 2 books off the shelf. And so I was just kind of randomly grabbing books. And this was one of those 2 books. I've always loved Wizard of Oz, so I was really excited about...
Do you want to know how many historical fictions you rated 5 stars?
How many?
0.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, keep going with your point.
Cassie, I rated 1 5 stars that you recommended to me.
See? Okay,
This
that's
year.
all that counts. Anyway.
Keep going.
So, The Fairy Tale Life of Dorothy Gale is about Dorothy Gale, and she gets in this really bad relationship with a professor who ends up writing a book about her.
Oof.
Or like
Taylor
bases
Swift
a
in her.
character off
Nice.
of a book, or bases the character in her book off of her. And it portrays her to be this really like weak, shitty character. And
It's based
like,
off of Taylor Swift in general,
No,
or
no,
just
No,
the...
I was
no.
saying that it was she Taylor Swifted her.
like wrote a song
Because
about
everyone
her.
like
bad
Taylor
talked
Swift
her.
Gotcha.
Yes.
states. Yeah, she.
Using it as a verb.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that
You're
was
fine. So
that was millennial.
she decides that she finally wants to finish her degree that she kind of put on hold while she was with this professor, and goes to Ireland to do it. Gets into a school there, and the book is so much fun. There's multiple potential love interest. Things start to go one way that you would expect them to go, and then like her sister shows up, and there's this like complete 180 turn of like how things are going. There's not really a third act breakup because she's not really in a relationship this whole time, but there's that like kind of situation, but because they're not really in a relationship, it like isn't so dramatic. I fucking loved it. Like, I have no complaints about this book. There's nothing in this
I
book that
remember
I
when you were
complain about.
voicing me about this, and you were like,
I was unsure.
"Yeah, you were
I
very."
was very unsure because it was like, I don't know who I'm supposed to like. I don't know which
Love
love
triangles are
interest.
hard, man.
I want her to be like, I read a book last year called Going by Coastal, and it was YA, but it was very much like there were two scenarios, almost like a choose your own adventure. And because it was not quite a love triangle situation, but there were two love interests, like I didn't form a connection to either of them. And I was just fucking done with it. I was like, I don't care. I didn't even read, like, I read the last chapter. Well, I didn't even pick because it was like, pick this if you want this person. I read them both because I was like, I don't give a shit.
Was it really?
I didn't like it.
Okay. No, I'm just saying it was a like.
Yeah, so like it went back and forth. Like there was this scenario of, anyways, I'm not talking about that book. I'll tell you about
Yeah.
it later. If I had read it this year, it would be my least favorite by far because I did not like that book at all.
Do you wish this book was a wide choose? Did you like both of them? Were you like, wow, I would have picked Bob because of this, or I would have picked Tom because of I don't know what their names were. I'm sorry.
Tim,
But
Tim,
You were close.
Bob and Tom.
Sam, and Tim. I want to say his name was Tim. Sam and Tim.
Wait, so
You
love the
Sarah
book with
Clary
the character
and
named
Tim Woodman.
Sam.
That's one of your icks.
It was different because it was different. Anyways,
It
it was different.
It's different
Is
because
it-
it's a guy named
is it
Sam.
spelled like SAYM?
No,
or-
it is spelled SAM, but it
Is it a guy named
yes.
Sam?
Yes.
Okay,
why
that's
it's different.
different.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Different. Okay.
yeah, it
Okay,
was a
cool.
different genre, so I didn't associate it with
Gotcha.
I mean, a
my
different gender.
kid. Yes, different.
But okay, do you my
Gender genre.
I mean,
Don't have
my
me at a
question still
tizzy.
stands. Do you wish that it was a white choose?
I would have been interested to see where that would have gone,
Okay.
but I don't think it
Fair.
would have been right for the main character.
Fair. I was asking.
Like
you
I
your opinion.
don't. I think it would have been fun, and I would have been interested in it. I've not read a Wide Shoes before, so like
As much as you guys read dark romance, you haven't read a white choose.
I've read like one dark romance
Oh, okay.
book.
I've read like 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep going. Sorry.
Calm down.
I'm over here just chilling like a villain.
So if you want something that it's not super dark, like there are moments where it's like, oh, that's really fucking shitty, but like I feel like the main character really learns a lot about herself, and at the end, like she really comes out knowing who she is and what she wants to do and where she fits in, versus I feel like we don't get that. I feel like we complain because we have a lot of like stagnant characters, or a lot of like the female doesn't ever figure out who she is or know where she fits into society, and this book is exactly all of that. So
Sounds good.
yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. The book that I have not enjoyed so far this year was a fucking huge downer for me because I was really excited, and it was the Lost Apothecary. The Lost Apothecary.
Yeah.
Have you read it?
The purple one.
The purple one with all the
purple
like
one.
flowers and the apothecary
Yes.
bottle
purple.
by Sarah Penner. You've seen it.
It did have a very pretty cover.
It does have a pretty cover.
Yikes! Yeah, it's on my TBR. Not my physical TBR, so I'll take it off.
Okay, so
Yeah.
She said, and it's cut just like that.
She gone.
Oh yeah, I don't play around.
It hops back
I'm
and
not
forth.
reading shitty books.
It
Oh, you
hops
don't
back
like
and
time-
forth
you
between
don't
two
like
different
time
time
hop.
periods. So 2 different POVs.
I'm going right now.
And one of those is a historical fiction POV. So, like, that was why I was excited. It had this air of, like, kind of magical mystery, even though there was nothing magical about it.
Can I pause you for 1 second?
Yeah.
Is that related to the Lost Bookshop?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think they're different people. Or different authors.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
Oh, she does write the London Seance Society, which I know is, like, kind of all over the place, too.
Oh, it has a bad rating. The Seance Cities, whatever.
I've never seen it.
Seance
But anyway,
Society.
sorry.
Take it off
You
to
can
what to
continue.
read.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Well, you know, thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah,
You're
we're
welcome.
making these decisions right now.
I just
we're cutting
know.
out the fat.
We
Remove
are,
it.
You're
we are
done.
not
You're
accidentally
done.
reading
You're
bad
done.
books.
We
You're
have to
done.
read too
She
much to
gone.
read bad.
Yeah, and it
Yes.
was one of those where, like, the main character, shit happened and she was kind of running for her life, and she had this degree that she didn't really do anything with and kind of wanted to do, like, historical, like, you know,
So this is a historical fiction.
the past is.
Oh, gotcha.
And then, like, the time hop. So it's this historical fiction. It's this apothecary. So you get, like, basically what happened that was the downfall of the
Is it every
apothecary.
chapter?
Every other, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there might be a couple towards the end where you just get, like, a big chunk. And then in modern times, the main character found an apothecary bottle, and now she's uncovered this apothecary just randomly on a trip to London and is trying to, like, uncover its, like, secrets and faults. And I was bored to death.
Oh,
Like,
womp womp.
the whole fucking book. It had so much potential, and it maybe could have been good.
Would you rate it?
A 3, because you know I don't like to give books
Okay.
bad ratings.
whale
Usually
purr.
I will only give something a 2 if I wish I would have DNF'd it. And I don't know that I wished I would have DNF'd this book because it was okay. I was just really, really, really disappointed in
It didn't
it.
live up to the hype.
No,
Yeah.
because it's been all over. That's why
It's
it
all
was
over-
on
yeah, it's
our
all over Book
TBRs and our
Talk.
want
That's
to
why,
reads
yeah.
and stuff, because it is all over the place. And it lacked the whimsy I expected.
Do you
There
wish
were
it was more
parts of
flushed?
it that were dark?
Do you wish it was longer?
Almost. It almost would have been better if it was longer. Like, I
So
feel
you got
like
more detail of the
this
story
random
expanded?
girl finding this like, you don't know London, and, like, yes, there's some random person helping her, but it's very,
everywhere.
it was very unbelievable.
Okay.
Like, if you're gonna make this seem, and the apothecary was very believable. The historical part of it, I liked. The modern day, I didn't.
Okay.
We can go that far. But
Fair,
Holly, how are you doing?
So that's everything?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm good.
That's everything. Okay, so my mid-year stats, my goal was 45 books and I have read 43 books. So I'm 95% of the way
Yes,
through.
queen.
Now, on my Goodreads it will say I've only read 42, but as I've told you all,
Oh,
there
you
was a
have
book,
that one.
there's an unpublished book that I read on a different website that is just as long as I think it was like 300 or 400 pages.
Even if it wasn't, it still counts.
Yes, but it's not on Goodreads, obviously. I can't find like a picture of it. It's just an unpublished story. And actually, it's sapphic. And I liked it. I rated it 4 stars.
Okay. Is it
And
spicy
That's
sapphic?
why I dyed my hair blue. Because one of the characters had blue hair and they called her Blue. And I was like, I should put blue in my hair. And then I fucking put blue in my hair. And I loved it. Yeah, it was great.
I love your blue hair.
Thank you. It
love my
was
hair.
thank you. It was sapphic. I felt like it was still, you could tell it was like a girly relationship. There wasn't like one that was super mask and like dominating, but they both just had such great personalities. It was just a really fun book. So actually, that's another sapphic one. I just forgot about it because it's not on my Goodreads, but it was pretty good.
Point that out to me.
Well, we just talked
Thank you
about
for
it.
that.
Sorry, okay, listeners, because you can't see me. We just talked about this in the last episode, so I'm just updating you. So yeah. Stop laughing at me.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you.
Har har. That's my laugh. So I'm 95% of the way through. Hooray! Which I knew I was gonna hit it. I just didn't know how quickly. But I mean, most months I've read 9 to 11 books. This month I've read 4. Now, tomorrow is the last day of the month, so I might get in another like quick short one or something. Like another like Girl from the Other Side, or I started reading Your Dad Will Do and I never finished it, so maybe I'll
Katie
finish
Roberts.
that. Yeah, maybe I'll finish that
That
tomorrow
one's
since
good.
that's a short one. So, who knows? I might get 44 out of 45, but that's why I made it shorter for months like this where I just don't read a lot. My favorite book, or I guess I can go through, I did 11 5-stars, which I feel like I didn't know that I did that many 5-stars. I feel like that's a pretty good amount.
11, yeah.
Yeah. And then my 4-stars were 20, which I thought I would have more 3-stars than 4-stars, so that surprised me too. I had 11 3-stars and then 1 2-star and no 1-stars. This is the first time I've ever
No 2 stars and no,
No,
one
one
2-star,
2-star.
and that's going to be
So
my
that
least
was your
favorite
least
book of the year.
favorite.
Yes.
Okay.
And then no 1-stars, but I did DNF for like the first time ever. Foxtail. That book club book. So there was a book that we had to read for our book club. And normally I'm like, if I'm going to go to book club, I'm going to read the freaking book. This month I did. And that's only the second time though. But Foxtail was by a local author. It was kind of a dystopian YA. And I couldn't listen to it. It was only available on paperback.
It was self-published.
And if I could have listened to it, I may have finished it, but it just wasn't my genre. And I couldn't stay focused on it. I got about 50 pages in and then never picked it up again. So
That's
DNF.
Don't like life's too short to read shitty books.
Yeah, I try not to make myself feel bad about it, but
No, don't feel bad about it.
my track record's pretty good.
Yeah, like you would hate to see how many have DNF. So
My favorite book of the year, there were so many good ones. I think the one that's most recently in my mind was Butcher and Blackbird. That one was so
Good one.
good. If you guys didn't buddy read it with us, if you haven't read it, go read it. It was perfection in my mind. It was a
It was really
romance.
good.
It was
dark.
It was dark. It was funny.
Smutty.
It was so smutty. It was so good. Yeah, the sex was incredible. The characters were great. Very few
womp,
things. Yeah, when you say like balls to the wall,
Yeah.
that was that was a good one. So, and I really, I'm just a funny girl, so I love anything that can make me laugh. So, it made me laugh. It was great. So, and then my least favorite book of the year, the one I gave 2 stars, was Long Live the Pumpkin Queen by Shea Ermshaw.
Womp, womp.
It was big womp womp. So
I read that one too, and I did not like it as well.
I was like, you can borrow it if you want.
I don't know if it's that bad, but I'm just curious.
So it's basically like Sally after Nightmare Before Christmas. It's like centered around her.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So it's a story about how like the Sandman comes through a different world and puts everybody to sleep except for
her.
Sally, and she has to find a way to like wake everybody up. And
you wouldn't like it because
she's so weak.
they turn her from being, because Sally in the movie is so fucking strong.
She is. Yeah.
And she's Jack's
Underratedly
voice
so.
Yes,
Yeah.
she's Jack's voice of reason. She tries to be.
Yep.
And she still supports him and stuff. But Tara, you wouldn't like it because she gets turned into just this.
This
Weak.
literal rag doll. I mean, I know that's what she is, but yeah, she's so weak. And okay,
the
so
narrator sucks ass.
the physical book was, the narration was bad. The physical book was at Kroger and it was on sale, and I was like, oh, I might as well get it. I love Nightmare Before Christmas. I have a Nightmare Before Christmas tattoo. My wedding was semi-Nightmare Before Christmas. Like, one of my favorite things. And I was so disappointed because, so I had the physical, but I ended up switching to audio because that's my shit. And the audio was awful. The narrator, like her voice was just like high and squeaky and whiny. It was just like, Sally didn't know what to do. Like, and then between each chapter, there was music. It was like, it was like so chaotic and annoying and loud. I was just like, what the fuck is happening? And it happened all the time. It was just like, stop.
It was Disney.
I'm not a
published.
child.
It was published by Disney themselves, and I think that might be why.
And I mean, was it considered like YA?
Yes,
I
it is
guess.
considered
Okay.
YA,
Yeah. Maybe it just wasn't for me. And maybe
Not
I'm
saying
just
that's
like,
why that's wrong.
Yeah.
I mean,
maybe I'm
I
just an
agree with
uppity
you.
bitch.
I agree with you 110%.
Yeah. It was just really disappointing. I hated to give it 2 stars, but then I kept thinking and was like, you know, I just can't give it any higher than that. I maybe should have even given it 1 star. But
I mean, honestly, if you're gonna call yourself a queen, you gotta be stronger than that.
yes, yeah. And then it wasn't a cohesive story. There were some plot holes in it. I'm not going to go into that, but you know, read it if you want to.
I'm good.
Yeah. So it's just sitting on my shelf
I'll
collecting
pass.
dust because I did buy it.
Unpopular opinion, but I do not love The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oof.
I
It is
feel
just-
like
Not unpopular opinion because I could care less about it.
here's
Wow.
here's
I
the
think
thing.
it's overhyped.
Wow.
Here's the thing. Listen to this.
Wow.
I was a Nightmare Before Christmas girly, and then I stopped because everybody was so into it.
Yeah,
and I was
same.
like, oh my God, all the cringy emo kids, like, they love Jack and
You
Sally.
were a
and blah,
cringy
blah,
emo
blah.
kid, Holly.
I was, but I liked like My Chemical Romance, and you know, I'd like to stay on the darker side.
Okay, do you not like
that
it?
was considered the darker side.
So here's my question though
by
for
the
that.
pussy emos.
Here's my question
Sorry.
for that. Do you not like it because you think it is supposed to be a Halloween movie? Or do you not like it because you think it's supposed to be a Christmas movie?
I don't think it has anything to do with either one of those. Honestly, so to my understanding, it's one of Tim Burton's like first ones.
Well, they
or
were- it
like
was play
it's like
animation.
came out
Yeah.
in the 90s.
Yeah.
I think it was 91 actually.
I never saw it when I was a kid. Okay,
Oh.
I grew up in a house that
Oh,
didn't have
me neither.
cable and
let's see that.
all kinds of stuff. So like, if I didn't see
I
it
could
at
see
somebody's house, you know, I
Gotcha.
pretty much didn't see it. Like we had regular TV. With that being said, I wasn't like sheltered or anything. But I mean, I just never watched it as a kid. And then when I got into high school and everybody was talking about it, part of it, I was like, what the heck is this? And then somebody showed it to me.
What's this?
And then I finally watched it and I was like, it's cute.
Yeah.
And
No
then it's
attachment.
like this whole like cult thing. And I, of all the things that you could, I don't think that it's just like the best one. I don't know. But I don't dislike Tim Burton movies, and I like that there's the whole like theory about them
they're like
connecting with
connected,
all of
yeah.
them. And I really liked Corpse Bride. Like
I
that
love
one's really
so
cool.
good.
I would love to see more Corpse Bride merch.
Yeah.
I'm just over Jack and Sally.
And I think, yeah, I got back into it actually when I got married because my mom did most of my decorations because she's amazing. And she was bringing in a lot of Jack and Sally Nightmare Before Christmas because I had like a dark themed Disney Haunted Mansion wedding. And the more I saw it, the more I was like, oh, that is kind of cute because it's like our cake topper said simply meant to be. And it was like them on the hill. And, you know, it is like that romance between them. And so I kind of got into it more. But I do feel like there's, not to harp on it too long, but I do think there's a nostalgia piece of it.
Yeah.
Because Matt is the same way. He never watched it as a kid. And then I made him watch it. And he's like, well, this is kind of lame. And he just doesn't see what's so good about it. I know Scott doesn't really like it.
I don't like it either.
Samantha
hates
loves
it,
it.
so.
Yeah, my
love
kid
that.
has a bigger than her life size, Sally in her Christmas outfit plush because
Joe hates it. All the girls
somebody,
love it. But
corrected her
I
over
like
there.
And
it.
I don't hate it.
No, yeah.
So I just like
I have
don't
no
get the
care
hype.
for it. Yeah.
I think also with social media, it kills the hype because
Yep.
when before you had the internet,
Yep.
no one knew it was really hype. You don't
Yeah.
overhear it. You just hear your friends talking about it. Now you see it literally when Christmas or Halloween and Christmas are both around.
Yep.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that kills it too as well.
Yeah.
So I haven't watched it in a couple years just because I did get off the band track of it because I was like, okay,
Yeah.
like
I feel like, yeah,
you're
you.
right.
I had to step away from it. I went and saw it in
Sorry,
theaters, not last year, but the year before. I made Matt go see it in theaters with me, even though I've seen it a million times. And then also the
Oogie Boogie is my favorite. though.
Yeah.
I will
Oh,
say
the
that.
Oogie Boogie song is great.
Oogie Boogie,
but the
man.
Louisville Orchestra, sometimes they will play movies and they will like play along with them, the soundtrack. And they did that for Nightmare Before Christmas. And I want to go so bad because I've been to Harry Potter one and it was really cool.
I want to go to a Harry Potter one. I've only been to Final Fantasy
do-
Orchestra.
There's one
I-
next year. We need to do it.
I agree with your 2-star though.
Yeah,
I agree.
it was so bad. But I hear there's other books by here that are good. So maybe I'll check them out.
By the
Sherm Shaw.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
That's just what I hear. Anyway, I'm done. My soapbox is done.
Your soapbox is done.
Goodbye.
All right. Jen wants to go last, so I guess
Oh,
it's
I can
my
go. I
turn.
can go if you're ready.
I just said
No, because then you're
going
going to mess
last.
up the rotation.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
You volunteered to be last. Be last. No, I'm just kidding. I love
I didn't,
you.
Wow.
I didn't volunteer. If
you're not first, you're last.
Oh my gosh.
So my stats are going to be very quick. For my reading challenge, on Goodreads, I set a challenge of like 40. I think I kind of was like, well, maybe it'll be like 45. I've read 26.
Okay, good, good, good. Woohoo.
So I'm over halfway there for the whole year. Part of why I set my goal so low is because I knew that I go really hard into reading and then I drop off completely and then I'll go really hard into it again. It's fine.
Ebbs and flows.
But of those 26 books, 7 of them have 5 stars and 12 of them have 4 stars.
Okay.
So, I guess
And
my rating
nothing
scale-
lower than that?
Oh no, everything else is lower than that.
Oh, okay. I don't know
12
how to
and 7
math.
isn't 26.
She's only telling us
What?
the good stuff.
Yeah.
12 and 7. Okay.
Well, and
much
then
is that?
so there's ones that are on here that are
Okay.
that I've like if I started but I didn't finish and they're not rated at all.
Okay.
And we'll get into that when I talk about the book that I hated this year. But to talk
Womp
about
womp.
the good stuff, I have been waiting all year to go on my soapbox fully for the Binding and Keeping 13 Books by Chloe Walsh. Sorry. The story follows it's dual point of view. It follows Johnny and Shannon, and it's just kind of like their life struggles going into their last years of high school, basically.
Is one book one of them and one book the next, or are they both dual
They're
POV?
both dual
Okay.
POV. And so the reason I have like both of them as my favorite is because where the first one ends, this second one literally picks up
Right away.
right away.
I love that.
You know exactly what's like, right where you ended is right where you pick up. So there's like nothing in between going on that you have to like fill in gaps or anything. So to me, it's one completed story versus it being like 2.
Because she has other books too,
Yes.
and they're not as connected. They're different characters.
They are different characters.
In the
You
same
meet them
world.
all. They are all main characters throughout this series. It's just kind of the story from their perspective. One of them is done better than the other. So, or than the other set. But I think there's a lot of really harsh topics in it.
Okay.
Okay,
A lot
so
of triggers.
yeah, you would definitely want to read your trigger warnings before you jump into this book. There's a lot of mental health that stems from childhood trauma or even teenage trauma. Like it's heavy stuff. That's part of why I relate to it so well, I think. If my mom ever listens to this, she's gonna be like, what the fuck are you talking about? But like I grew up with an alcoholic dad. He abused my mom. It was a lot for a kid. It was a lot growing up. And that happens to Shannon.
Okay.
I hate that for you.
And while I was never like physically abused by that, there was mental abuse or like verbal abuse,
Yeah,
you
for
know,
sure.
and things that kind of go along with that.
Well, and just seeing that abuse or knowing that it
Yeah.
exists in itself is fucking traumatizing.
Exactly. And so I think that's why I related with this book and I connect with it so well because it is about younger characters, which I'm kind of with Jen. I'm like, I don't want to read about characters like doing this. And there is a big like love story in here about Johnny and Shannon and like Johnny is Shannon's first love and it's super sweet. And, they're gonna, have sex eventually and like different things, but the way that it's done is really nice. They kind of both go through their own troubles. Johnny has some sports injury and they're like 2 completely different people and they just come together as friends. So I just fell in love with it. I've listened to it 3 different ways, read it, whatever. I recommend it to everybody.
Is it your Roman Empire?
What do you mean?
What you think about all the time.
Yeah.
I do constantly think back to this book. Like it really lives rent free in my head.
So
and
it is your Roman Empire. Yeah.
I can't explain why other than I related so closely with Shannon's
Yeah.
character as far as what she's endured and what she lived through. And then even the other books in the series going forward from the other perspectives, like so she grows up in a house with like 5 siblings. And I had 3 in the same house, like large family siblings. You're always having to babysit to help your mom out. You're always having to do these things. You have people who are not going down, your siblings that are not going down the right path for things, you know. Just a whole lot of that can be very relatable to my life. And I turned out awesome. So
You sure did.
You did.
Absolutely.
Yes.
and you don't get to see forever down the road, but I think by the end you kind of are hoping things get better for Shannon and Johnny, and it's super cute what happens. There's also actually a lot of comic relief in the book as well. In between all of the really bad, heavy subjects that you endure, it's still life, right? And these are like 18-year-old kids like getting ready to go into life. And there's a character named Gipsy, and he is the most carefree little character ever, and I love him. And I want him to be my best friend. I don't know who this person was written after, but somebody inspired this woman to write this character, and I want to meet that person. Like, I want him to be my best friend because he's funny. But that's my big soapbox about my favorite book of the year.
Has Chloe Walsh
Walsh.
become a auto-buy author for you?
I have read everything into this. I've not looked into anything outside
Okay.
the Boys of Tommen series. I did find out the other day, though, that Johnny and Shannon are getting a third and final book, and they're closing out the entire series with them.
Oh, wow.
And so we will finally get to see kind of further what happens.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited, but it's probably like 6-7 years down the road.
It's a big series right now, so I think she'll get it out quick because, I mean, when it's a big series, it's a moneymaker.
Yeah.
And
You don't want to lose that momentum.
exactly, yeah, you don't want to lose it.
So
she's
hopefully
probably
that's a
gonna-
good thing.
Yeah.
And
thing.
that means
Unless
that
it's a bad thing because she goes too quick on it and ruins the book. But I hope for
Yeah.
you that it doesn't go down that way because
Well, and I will say there's two
sucks.
other perspectives that she's doing. So she does one perspective from like Shannon's brother and his girlfriend and his life growing up inside that house. And then actually my favorite character got his kind of own book with Shannon's best friend, dual point of view. They're all like a guy and a girl kind of dual point of
Yeah.
views.
okay.
And I have read those so far. I still like Johnny and Shannon's and everybody around them centered
Gotcha.
the best.
Okay.
I did like Gipsy's book, but it was more his serious side, and he is just my favorite
Oh, gotcha.
I'm not here for the
of
serious
comic
Gypsy.
relief. He was like the like I've just never had a book where I'm laughing out loud for like 10 minutes straight
Yeah.
because your character banter is so good,
Gotcha.
and it was that's what he does.
That's awesome.
So I don't know if I'll read everything, but I'll definitely read Johnny and Shannon's third book.
Okay. Fair.
And then I have a second kind of favorite, which I won't talk about as long, but I did want to mention it because actually on Goodreads, it's got a lot of hate.
Okay.
So it's a little bit controversial.
Go ahead.
So it is 1,000 Heartbeats by Kira Cass.
The one we got you for the book challenge.
Yes. So this is the one that was picked for me for the book challenge that we did a while back. And when I was on vacation last month, I finally got a chance to sit down and read it. And initially I made this a 4-star book. And then much like the other ones, I couldn't get it out of my head. It is a classic fairy tale. It follows Annika and Lennox dual point of views. Apparently that's my thing. I just love a good, I need
do.
multiple
Yeah,
perspectives.
you can't
Yes.
hate on dual POV.
No.
But I saw a lot of
Yeah. You can't.
You're wrong.
You can't sit with
If
us.
the characters aren't good, you can. Like,
sit
you
with
can
us.
let me get rid of this
Can't
one
sit
and
with
just
us.
make this character the main one, right? But it got a lot of hate on Goodreads. I was reading some of the reviews and people were like, it's so long, it's so slow, it's so boring, it's so like all of this stuff. And I was like, I didn't feel any of that. Like there's a lot of politics in it in a sense, but it's not over in depth in politics. Like they're easy to figure out. You've got 2 warring sides. You've got a princess. You've got the rightful prince. You've got, it's just kind of this little epic, cozy fantasy. But I really liked it because, like, you know that feeling when you're a kid and you read your first fairy tale and it's just like the little, like with Sleeping Beauty or Cinderella or Rapunzel was always my favorite.
Yeah.
It brought back that feeling in a more adult way.
I love that.
And so I was like, good.
Simple times.
I love it's your second because when we did the book challenge, me and Holly were like,
Yeah.
what are we going to do?
Yeah. It was, well, we were like, Tara likes fantasy.
Yeah.
But
Like,
we've all read our book challenge books. Because you read yours.
Yes.
I read mine.
I read mine. Hey,
we've
look
all read
at
the
us.
books?
Yeah.
I love that.
You know what? We need to plan to do another one
Yeah, it's
Yes.
and mix it up.
That could
There we go.
be. We could do like that. Could be our Christmas in July. We could
We
like
just do a
do like a
TikTok thing.
secret.
Yeah.
That's a way we can do it and not. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we were looking at it, and I even looked it up, and I was like, man, it sounds so good though.
Yeah.
So,
What's the rating on it? Not your rating, but the overall rating.
I can check for you while you, if you want.
Well, it shouldn't be too far
Oh,
down here.
that's
Because
right.
you said it's getting a lot of hate.
Yeah, like a lot. I think it's average of 3.91 stars, and most of the
not
recent
terrible.
ones
Not
are
terrible.
just a lot of hate. Maybe it was just everybody jumped on like this soapbox on this one that was like really low. But I read like, I don't know, 200 comments that were like, yeah, it's terrible and it's all of this.
I think if people don't have something to bitch about, they're just unhappy.
And I
Right.
will say this, going into it, I wasn't sure that it was a young adult specifically. And I think from the back and the front, except for when you read Harper Teen, you don't know that it's young adult by the
So
description.
you think they read it and thinking it was
And
going
so
to be
I'm
adult
wondering if-
and more mature,
Yeah.
and they ran into
Yeah.
Because
the
I
young
wouldn't have
adult
guessed
elements.
it was YA by looking
We
at the
did,
cover.
yeah. That's what we were both. We were like, "Is this YA? Is it not?"
Yeah.
Because in Joseph Beth, it was in the YA, and I
Yeah.
was like, "This doesn't." I mean, it's giving off teen, but it's not giving
Right.
off teen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, I know that's all she writes. Though,
Ambiguous.
is YA.
Yep. So I did go and do some research on that, and she does. And I will say it is written very YA. Like it is,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
but there is also like heads getting chopped off and people
Love
getting
that.
slaughtered. And so
I feel like
anytime
the
you can
selection kind
slap
of
a sword-
had. I only
shove a
read the
sword through
first one, and it was a while ago, but I feel like there were some dark kind of things.
You know,
for
I love when
YA.
people die in books.
I just
That is like the second time you've been like, let's just kill him.
look, give me
Let's
some heads
just
getting
kill
chopped
him.
off or
I
somebody
won't
in a
read
sword
horror, but
fight.
I mean, you kill someone in fantasy, I'm like, yes.
My
Especially
God.
if they deserve to die.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay, sorry.
I'll
Go
say
ahead,
this
Tara.
though, Annika is a female main character. She was a princess, right? But she was like, I'm gonna be a badass princess. And the decisions that I
Good.
didn't agree with her doing, though, she had a reason for them. That wasn't stupid and wasn't just, oh, somebody told me to. There
she was a strong
bigger
woman.
reason,
We
and it
love
was
a
for her
strong
people.
queen.
Yes, we do.
And so
We
I just have to throw
stand.
out thank you for writing what I would want to be a princess if I was a princess.
Snaps
Badass.
for you.
Who can wield a sword.
Snaps all over.
I mean, I can't wield one, but I sure can hurt someone.
Oh my God.
And I can put a lot of hate on a book.
Jen's
I don't know
just
if I
gonna hurt
should
you
do it.
emotionally.
Do it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So on one of those like stuff your Kindles days, this book came up and it was called Dragon Craved. It's by Scarlett West. So I'm really sorry, Scarlett West, if you ever listen to this.
Sorry, not sorry.
You suck.
Now I did have the Kindle version. So
Don't write again. I'm pulling a Jen. Don't pick up a pen
so
ever.
Here's the thing.
Say that about.
I think
The local author. Anyway.
I think that this book is probably it's clearly designed to be like a smutty kind of quick read. But if I'm going to read a like super smutty book with like no plot behind it, give me 150 or less pages,
Yeah.
right? Like that's what I need, a minimal plot.
Yeah.
This one was about somebody can look it up for me if they want,
Yep,
but I
what's it
think
called?
this one Dragon Craved. I don't even think I put it on my Goodreads.
Dragon Crate.
Craved,
Craved?
something like that. Yeah.
Or crate.
Craved.
I'm just being an idiot. Don't listen
Oh,
to me.
by Scarlet
Um,
West, I found it.
So it is.
Oh, it's long.
Long. It is long.
Yeah, okay.
And the whole thing is,
You did
is,
not
like,
put on your one to read.
it
or Goodreads.
started out okay,
Yeah.
and then the more I read, the more I was like, was this just never edited?
Mm.
I
It-
hate those.
So my qualms with it, and like even if it was like self-edited,
No,
it was
it's by a
Is it by a publishing house?
Yeah.
So that's even
Oh.
worse.
I was going to
God.
say, that sucks.
yeah. I'm sorry, I forgot what it was called, but yes, it is.
So there are so many parts in this book where there's misspellings.
Mm.
All over,
Ugh.
and for like simple words, like through is not the correct use of. Like
they
it's
do,
not like
like,
I threw a
through?
ball,
Oh,
and it should be like I'm walking
no.
through the door.
Oh, that's really bad. That's
There's
so
also almost any time
That's
that
when you get shitty arc readers.
like two people are in a room together, right? or having a conversation.
Yeah.
And in the Kindle that I read, there would be quotations and then another set of quotations and then another set of quotations. And it's all jumbled together and you don't even know who started talking. And they work through dual point of view. Am I going on too long?
No,
You're fine.
No,
you're
no.
good.
But they do it from like this dual point of view, but they don't tell you whose point of view you're jumping to.
So it's just kind of confusing.
So it is so confusing. Also, literally, so I remember one specific part because it just irked me. Like, it's not good. But it irked me because they were like, okay, we're gonna go. They had to go drive somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, we're getting ready and we're going down the drive. And they were getting ready to go to like a completely, I think it's like, takes place on like an island, most of it, at like a prison. And then there's like a mansion and then you go to the mainland. So anyways, yeah, they're on the island. They have to drive up to the mansion. They're going to go drive and that's what you think they're doing. And then all of a sudden they're just back at the house. And there's no explanation of what happened when they were supposed to go meet some very important people. And it was like a whole day later, and it never refers back to anything that should have happened prior. And it was just like, it just wasn't well done of like time jumping.
So what's it rated on Goodreads?
3.75 with
Oh.
180 reviews.
Yeah. Okay. And
Not very
it's
many.
a
Yeah, it's called Not a
Series.
Jennifer One. That's what I call
it's a
that.
series. There's more of these.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, there's
And-
2 of them that in the next one gets published actually like
And I'm just like, how did this?
oh it's even worse.
Oh, it's
How did
got to
this
be those
go?
ARC readers just trying to kiss ass so they
Yeah.
can get more books.
But like, I'm just sitting here.
I mean,
and
look
I'm
at the
like,
cover though.
That is so stupid.
That's cringy.
But-
I hate when guys pull on their like jeans to be like, look at my V, and I'm like,
those low cut, like we're in the 90s,
Yeah.
like low rise.
But-
like, give me some titties
Here's my
instead.
thing.
Jesus Christ.
the actual backlying story that she kind of came up with, if she had spent more time on that,
Right.
it's actually kind of interesting. It's like a sister saves her other sister. I don't know. It just, but
Do
I
they turn
couldn't
into
get over the
they turn
writing.
into dragons? I'm assuming.
Yeah, the men.
Got, oh, just the men. The women are allowed to.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
There's some women that can turn into dragons.
Oh.
Just
okay.
not the main women character. She is just a
my God.
dragon breeder. That's some of your main plot.
Why do they look
Um,
like Mouse from
but-
like Glee or something?
I got halfway through and was like, I'm going to force myself to read this damn thing. And I think I got to like 80%. And I finally was just like, I
Nope.
can't.
This
It's so
is why
badly done.
DNFing exists.
And I
This
took
is why,
way
like,
too much
if
time. So.
you don't know what you're doing, don't write.
Too gassy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It was just terrible.
I hate that for you because like life is too short to read shitty books.
Yeah.
And stop putting shitty books and stuff your Kindle day. Amazon.
Yeah.
Like God bless.
Well, and see, the thing was I was looking
Pick
at
some
the
good books.
reviews, like
Yeah.
the stars of the books before I put them in my Kindle, because I was like, I'm not going to read all of this, so I'm going to go check the ratings. And everything I had was like 3 or 4 stars at the time. And I give good books 3 stars because I'm just not
I
going to
do
read
too.
them
Yeah.
again if it gets a 3-star. But that was just like no stars. Please.
0.
Just
Negative
go back and
12.
edit and add a little bit to it.
That's
or
how
get
that.
decent people to read your book.
Yeah.
You know, and give
Yeah.
constructive criticism. I feel like a lot of times too, authors, they do these ARC reads, right?
Mhm.
And they have ARC readers, and you know, you have these ARC readers that are so afraid to say anything bad because you don't want to get taken
Yes.
off the ARC read list.
Yeah.
Well, if it's a shitty book, tell the author because you're doing them a disservice.
Yeah.
You signed up to read this book.
Yeah.
You signed up to tell this author what you think about it, and for you to lie,
Mhm.
shame on you.
Well, and I
Yeah.
feel like sometimes I see ARC readers rate things not great, but they won't really say anything negative in the review. They're not super honest about
Yeah.
it. It's just kind of ambiguous, but the rating isn't great. So it's like, why aren't you telling me?
Yeah,
more?
and I see so when I go and like research books or whatever, and I see thanks to NetGalley or thanks to this or thanks I'm a part of an ARC team, I don't take their reviews into consideration
Yeah.
because I feel like
Kiss ass.
it's kind of like those paid partnerships off of TikTok, right?
Yes.
Everyone bitches about them. They bitch that you're being paid by TikTok to say this, and oh, how can your review be? And I, you know, I think to myself to a degree, I think sometimes it's true.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, well, you know what I mean? You
Right.
want to, you're part of the cool kids.
Yep.
Not everyone gets arcs. I don't think I've ever gotten an arc. And you're part of one of those cool kids and you want to keep your cool kid status. So you give it a rating that is, you're just
Satisfactory.
not doing the author justice.
Right.
Yeah.
If you sign up to be an arc reader, you're going to have the backbone to actually be an arc reader.
You're going to
Yeah.
turn that author into Northwest up there singing The Lion King thinking they're great and they suck because everybody tells them they're great.
I mean, touche.
You're going to be a little Nepo baby.
So whoever arc read for the Scarlet West, you said, shame on you.
Shame. Death to all of you.
I was
Not gonna say that, but
the
shame on
most
you, seriously.
disappointed.
I mean, you do them a disservice. Seriously, these authors are looking
But-
to you for your help.
Yep.
Yep.
And for you not to help.
That's one of my biggest pet peeves is when there's grammatical errors and then also when audiobook people pronounce things wrong. I hate that shit. I need to keep a counter. I need to like
Or when the author mispronounces the stuff they wrote.
yeah, can't.
Eats me up. Rebecca Yaros, I'm looking at you.
I am such a stickler for like
said,
grammar
"We're
and
going there."
pronunciation.
She really pissed me off during that interview.
I can concur.
So anyway, it is
All
my
right,
turn.
then.
All
Oh,
right,
got
it's
the
Jen's
stats.
moment. Go ahead.
Okay, so I did not know how far down we were gonna break this down. I think that's why they put me last. I broke it down.
The math is math.
The math is mathing, in my opinion. So I have read 61 out of 120. With a goal
Woohoo!
of 120. Yeah, I'm about 50.83% through my goal or whatever. Makes me 10 books ahead of schedule.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's
it's
great.
not bad. I used to be like 20 books ahead, and now softball has really kicked my ass. So
well,
it's okay.
it
It is what it
happens.
is.
Yep.
That's why I read more when it's school season and my kids aren't out and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
Out of 61 books, I had 21 that were 5 stars. I was telling Christina yesterday, I voice messaged her, and I was like, I feel like fucking Oprah. You get a 5-star, you get a 5-star, you get a 5-star.
How many did you have that were 5 stars?
21.
Well, maybe you're just
I
reading really
mean-
good books.
It's a lot, but
I mean, out of 60,
That's a third.
not even.
that's not.
yeah, I mean, that's not bad.
true. So, my 4 stars, I had 13. Out of 3 stars, I had 21. So my 5 and my 3s were tied.
Okay.
Out of 2 stars, I had 4 books, and out of 1 stars, I had 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
I DNF'd 3 books this year. So, and they were all fantasy books. Womp womp.
Womp,
It's really
womp.
disappointing. And yeah. What else? Oh, I have a genre breakdown. I'm just gonna go off.
Yeah,
it.
you're fine.
Fantasy, I had 8 books. Romance, I had 18. Historical fiction, I had 1.
Oh.
Horror / mystery thriller, I had 1. Manga, I had 10. Graphic novel, I had 4. YA romance, I had 2 because it's not my favorite genre.
Yeah.
YA fantasy, I had 13. I was like,
Alright.
and
How
I was
many
doing this-
romance did you have?
18.
Yeah, and on the last episode, weren't you like, this is why romance really isn't my thing?
Between YA and fantasy, I overdid that.
Well, yeah, but you still have a shit
You
ton of
still have a
romance.
lot
I
of
do,
romance.
yeah. And then middle grade, I have 4 because I do read with my oldest. We
Yeah.
buddy read quite a bit.
Aw.
So, yep, I have 4 middle grades. So, yeah, it's been a really decent year. I'm really excited to see where I'm going to be at the end of the year. But we'll see. So, favorite books
Yeah.
of the year. I can't separate my favorite books because they were in tandem. We talk about her all the time, man. I feel
I
like
know, we do. Sarah J. Maas.
Sarah J. Maas, yeah. Empire Storms and Tower Dawn. They're the tandem read in the Throne
I'm
of
almost
Glass.
there.
Yeah.
I just started Assassin's Blade. I got 2 more.
I
and
gave
then-
my boss my physical copies, and then I was like, "Oh God, when she loses them?" Because I have the original print copies.
Oh.
But it is what it is. Anyway, I cannot stop thinking about. I'm gonna start Kingdom of Ash next week. That is my goal to start it next week. I didn't start it this week because I knew we had podcasts coming up and we have book club tonight and stuff like that. But those books, man, reading. I think
You
it's
can't talk about them too much.
Okay, I'm not. Listen, listen, Linda. Okay, between 1,400 pages of books, you go back and forth. Right, you're gonna read Empire Storm, maybe like 4 chapters. Then you switch over to Tower Dawn for 2. Then you switch over for Empire Storm for 1. Then you switch back over from Tower Dawn for like 6 chapters. It seems crazy until you fucking do it, and then you're over there. And it was amazing. Yes, it was
Yeah.
stressful. but like having to tab books and having to like sit here and rotate, and I had to keep both books with me, and both of them
Yeah.
are over 700 pages,
Yeah, those are big books.
and they're big, thick books, and I don't regret it. Now, if I reread the series, would I do it again? Probably not. But I don't regret it, and it literally has stuck with me. And you're in two different places. The characters get split, and you're in two different places, following one group of characters, and in the other book, you're following the other group of characters, but they're the same timeline. They're happening at the same time.
I like
two
that.
different places.
Okay.
So is this the one
It's
that you
so
said are the books really long too?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Kingdom of Ash, which I'm about to start, is the last book in Throne of Glass. And I have put it off because I don't want the series to end. This is going to be my Roman Empire.
Yeah.
This is going to be it.
Okay.
So Empire Storm, or Kingdom of Ash by itself, is 20 pages away from being 1,000 pages.
Oh God. Okay.
It's 980 some pages.
Woo-hoo. All right, Stephen
Big ol'
King,
book.
wrap it up.
I have put it off, and I put it off, and I even told Christina this when we were talking about it. I was like, I keep putting this off because I don't want it to end.
Yeah.
So what makes you so? I know you're not going to get too far into the story to save Cassie, but like, what makes you so happy about it?
It's good. You have characters getting killed. You have some of the like what
I don't want to
Nothing.
know anything.
oh you've already read this part, so you're good. It's okay. So you start off with you have some characters that you really root for, and they die. So it's like real life. Not everyone
Yeah.
lives, and
Nobody
like
died
so,
yet.
Your favorite.
Yes, they have. In Crown
Oh.
of Midnight, it does.
One person.
Oh, calm down.
I don't
Anyway,
care about her that much.
but you have people that you get attached to and they die.
Yeah.
You have growth. You have a lot of war. Sarah J. Maas, one thing she does really well, just like Brandon Sanderson, they do like conflict really well and war and stuff with fantasies. It's just you're not bored. It's not the same storyline.
Okay.
It's something totally different. And you have all these characters. Throne of Glass has like 8 main characters.
Are they easy to keep up with?
Right. And they're all complex.
Okay.
They all have their own backstories you learn, and I could go on and on. Listen, Manon Blackbeak is my favorite character, I think, of all time. Anesta is up there too. But that's still Sarah J. Maas. Like, I don't know what about her female characters have freaking crack in them, but I'm snorting it.
She sold her soul to the devil.
I mean, so that was my favorite read so far. I think it's going to change. I think Kingdom of Ash is going to end up being my favorite book of the year. But so far, those are the 2 books that I literally cannot stop thinking about at all. So, my least favorite. Listen, I hate to dwell on books. This book deserves to be in a trash can and lit on fire.
Okay.
I gave it 1 star. I read it in audio. I got it actually from a friend. And I told her, I was like, and she has the book. It's Christina.
Okay.
And I told her not to read it.
Okay. Which one
I
was
said
that?
just skip it. It's called The Unfortunate Side Effect of
Oh, yeah,
Heartbreak
yeah,
and
yeah.
Magic
Okay.
Okay.
by
yeah.
Brienne Randall. Listen,
Well, you really hated this book.
I hated this book.
Oh wow.
I read it on
Very
audio.
strong feelings.
Yeah, I'm trying to get through my physical TBR because I'm trying to get to a point where I'm reading more than I'm buying, which will never happen, but it's fine. I was trying to get through my physical TBR. It came available on Libby. I was like, you know what? I really don't need to read it. It's fine. I'll just listen
I've
to
done
it.
it. Done that, not done that book, but like
Listen,
done the audio
I
when
should've
it's
known
sitting on
better.
my shelf.
I have this thing, and we can talk about this in a different podcast, but I have this thing, a rule, that I don't read books under 3.5 stars.
Yeah.
I got this book from Christina. Christina said she thought it was really cute. She read a book. One of her favorite booktubers raved about it or something.
Well, even when it was first
And-
being pushed, before it was ever published, I had sent you a couple of like TikToks or
Yeah.
reels or whatever because it sounded like something that you and I would
Yeah.
enjoy. Very secret
They-
Society of Witches and
yeah, it was.
you know, yeah.
it was a dumpster fire.
Dumpster
Now-
fire.
Yeah, it's sitting at 3.22, and with over 20,000 ratings. Like.
Wow.
It's not
Yeah, that's pretty
So
low.
my review was like, you know what would be nice if books and authors stop advertising their books as something that they are simply not, just to make readers pick them up.
Yeah.
Because this was
Tell 'em.
advertised as Practical Magic and Gilmore Girls had a baby.
So every basic
And-
bitch is like, yes.
Well, Gilmore Girls is my favorite. That's my
shade.
TV
Yeah.
show. I don't like Practical Magic.
I love
Oh, I
Practical
love
Magic.
Practical
I'm not a big
Magic.
Practical Magic fan. It actually spooked me out enough to I don't watch it.
Basic bitches.
So I'm in a
for
room with
life.
3 basic bitches. All right.
Okay, well, I like Gilmore
what we've
Girls, so I
learned.
was like, okay, small town, whatever. Yeah, it was not good.
No.
Check your trigger warnings. I will say there is on page, and I'm just gonna spoil it because I don't care. There's on page attempted suicide.
Okay. That's a lot.
It's a lot.
A lot.
Out of nowhere. Yeah.
That's heavy.
And then I even went back like a month later and even wrote more stuff about it. I said, you know what? I'm back to edit. And I was like, and I literally was
Like, I'm not done.
Yeah, I was like, Sadie is a dumb bitch for fucking around with Jet. And I was just like, and I was just like mad.
Well, this will make you so happy because I'm just going to go ahead and remove it from my
Yes.
from my Goodreads.
So,
that's the
but-
second time that's happened this episode. Third time. We're just like,
I
let me
was
go in
about
there and
to
take it
say,
off.
We're
I
just,
just-
yeah. No, thank you.
It's just not
I'll
worth
pass.
it. It's but I will say the best part of that book, if you get the physical copy, is after every chapter there's a recipe.
That is cute.
That was cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet I can find them on TikTok.
I bet you can find them on Pinterest. I mean,
Yeah.
but what I think I have to say to what is her name, Brienne Randall, is
Stop writing.
yeah, don't write anymore. I think that when you have a book that is and also like just authors and like publishing houses and everything as general, stop advertising books as something they are not.
Yeah.
I can agree with that.
Stop putting in 2 books that are hype at the moment and saying, "Oh yeah,
Very
Here you go.
clickbaity, bait and switch.
yes,
Yep.
like
I
shut
can
up."
agree with that because I think that I would not be against reading a story if it's advertised for what it is. But if it's advertised for something that it's not, and then I read it and it's not what I thought, I am not going to enjoy it
Right.
Yeah.
because I was misled and that's not what I wanted to read at that moment.
The girl fucks around with someone who has a fiance
Yeah.
and who's pregnant. He finds out later it's not
That's a
his
lot.
baby and stuff, but like
That's
she's
not
still
okay.
pregnant.
They did that to make the girl not seem so bad, I bet.
Like, make it make sense. Math ain't
Yeah.
mathing up here.
No.
We're not girls. I don't want to read your book. So I hated that book. I really, really hated that book. So my most disappointed read of the year, and I will touch on it for 2 seconds because it's just like a hot topic, is I thought Iron Flame from Rebecca Yarros was going to be a 5-star. Fourth Wing for me, top notch. I loved it. Cassie might not like it. I can see her like
I love
snotty ass
Fourth Wing, too.
attitude. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. Iron Flame for me it just didn't live up to the hype. I think Rebecca Yarros pushed it out too quick and threw too much stuff.
I can agree there was way more filler in that one.
Yes, there was.
And it was not
I bugged the
needed.
shit out of Tara when
It
I was
was not
reading
needed.
Iron Flame.
However, I'm just gonna say the throne scene is
oh,
top tier.
my chair, my house, my woman. Get
Top tier.
top.
Well, I'm going to go read that one scene. Then,
Okay.
you know.
I can screenshot it and send it to you.
Yes, please.
We love a good Shadow Daddy. I love,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So, but it was just I gave it a 3 out of 5, which is average, which is good. I just expected going into 2004 or 2000.
2024?
Yeah, 2024.
2024? Not 2000.
2004.
When I was walking into 2024, I really thought it was going to be a 5. So that was just disappointing. It's a bad book. It was average, but I am going to read the next one.
Yes.
So, all right, that's it. I have nothing else to bitch about.
No, we'll see you guys back in July. We've got Swift and Saddled and
Yeah, yeehaw!
some summer books that we think you guys might be interested in.
So
So we'll
excited.
see y'all
Stay
next month.
tuned.
Bye.
Okay, bye.